Welcome, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by. This time I'm delighted to come your way to review and at the same time, I guess, kind of celebrate the 40th anniversary of this. I was going to say film, it's not a film, it's a shot on video, straight to video presentation. This movie is on the front cover here of the original home video box artwork. It says the first movie made for the home video market. I got this original North American VHS of Blood Cult, although it's cut down to fit in this video store video update clamshell. I nonetheless am the proud owner. Should probably do a showcasing of this, honestly. Proud owner of the original North American VHS of Blood Cult. Basically stopping on by, if you haven't guessed, to review the motion picture that was shot on video and exclusively produced for the home video market 40 years ago in 1985 by the name of Blood Cult. So my history with this movie goes all the way back to maybe the early 2000s when so many around my area of the video updates at the time, or were they movie? No, I think there were still video updates when they were purging a lot of their VHS, getting rid of a lot of their VHS. And I can remember, I'm pretty sure they had, at some point, they had a deal where you could buy 20 tapes for $10. If my memory serves me, if my memory is correct, that is very possible. Just to get the hell rid of these VHSs, I think, pretty sure you could get 20 VHS tapes for $10. Either that or it was 10. No, I don't think it would have been 10 for $20. I'm pretty sure it was 20 tapes for $10 because, you know, in the early 2000s, VHS was worthless at the time. And what's so funny is now I'm pretty sure, you know, this is probably worth more than 50 cents. Now, of course, time, you know, when something's like, at the time it would have been maybe 20 years old when it was worthless, and now 20 more years later it's worth something again. So that's just so ironic. So that's why I actually don't get rid of a lot of DVDs. I'm holding on to DVDs in hopes that I kind of don't think the same thing's going to happen with DVDs, like the stuff's going to go up in value, but I'm kind of hoarding DVDs, and I really try not to get rid of DVDs because someday it might be like these video cassette releases and stuff, and maybe the DVDs will be worth money. But I kind of don't think so, because I don't think like old CDs, 40-year-old CDs, I don't think they're worth money necessarily. So it's hard to say, but anyway. As I was starting to say, this movie came into my life sometime in the early 2000s because Video Update was purging so much of their VHS, and I just go through and buy so much of the horror stuff. Probably like maybe sci-fi, maybe some action, but mostly I was just buying off all of the, you know, frickin' Video Update, you know, horror VHS that interested me and stuff. And of course, at the time, this would have been one of the you know, if I'm remembering correctly, one of the 20 tapes for $10 that I got. And I watched it at the time. I only watched it once at the time for reasons I now understand. And the whole thing that prompted this is because I just became aware recently of like, well, like a year later, the same production company, I think it was the same people, like United Home Video, would put out Tom Savini as the Ripper. And I also own that original North American VHS. I'll also be reviewing that. But that recently, it was at this year, I don't know when it came out, but recently it came to my attention that a subsidiary of Vinegar Syndrome put out, you know, a Blu-ray of the shot on video quote unquote classic with Tom Savini by the name of The Ripper. And I was like, God, I was kind of interested in that. And then I found out that because I knew that Blood Cult they did a year prior. And I'm like, I wonder if they got Blood Cult as well. And the same, you know, the subsidiary of Vinegar Syndrome also put out Blood Cult. And I'm like, oh wow, I should get that too. And so I put them both in the cart. They were both around $20, so at the time, and I'm Amazon cart. And I kind of I didn't hit purchase because a part of me was like, you know what? And then I saw, I think it was on a comment for the trailer on YouTube of the I don't know how to pronounce the label, the subsidiary, DeGrasser Home Video or some bullshit. I think Vinegar Syndrome's got the record on having the most different name subsidiaries. You know, they got DeGrasser and I can't remember, there's Saturn's Core or something, like so many different companies putting out Blu-rays of garbage, trash VHS, shot on VHS garbage. But anyway, the official like Vinegar Syndrome degrasser, YouTube. I probably would have been on Vinegar Syndrome YouTube. They cut their own trailer for the Ripper and probably Blood Cult as well. And the comments for the Ripper, it said someone watched someone watched some of this on the Ripper on Tubi and couldn't get past the end or the opening credits. And I'm like, oh wow. So it might be the actual like degrasser Vinegar Syndrome version on Tubi. So I'm like, well, why don't I watch this and see if I really want to pay $20 for the Blu-ray? Good thing I did. Well, if that was the Ripper, that's another story. But then I'm like, I watched the Ripper, determined this is kind of spoils this for the Ripper review, but decided, yeah, well, I ain't gonna buy that. I don't need a Blu-ray of that. I'll never need to see that again. So then I'm like, is Blood Cult on Tubi? Blood Cult was not on Tubi that I could find. So I'm like, should I just buy this? And I'm like, you know what? I've got the VHS. Why not rewatch the VHS and see if I want to buy it? Good thing I rewatched the VHS because I never need to see Blood Cult again. So anyway, the premise of Blood Cult is just, it's just this United Home Video, whoever the hell's involved in this stuff, executive producer Bill F. Blair, presumably the name's cut off, but this husband-wife movie, shot on video creative team, Christopher Lewis and Linda Lewis. Yeah, I guess like I say, executive producer Bill F. Blair, they want to, do the very first, shot on video movie to be produced to just go to the video store for the home video market. So they just, gather together whatever, and they, what kind of gory kind of exploitative movie can we come up with? So it's just basically this guy with a meat cleaver going around, unseen killer kind of thing at college dorms or whatever, and chopping up college co-eds. I'm pretty sure he's just chopping up women or whatever. And forgive me, I think it's been a week or so since I watched this, and admittedly it's like super forgettable. I just watched this once back in the early 2000s when I got it, completely forgot about it, and then watched it a week ago and I more or less completely forgot about it. But one of the things that I'm not so keen on is there's this older like detective guy, and I don't understand why they think, and I don't mean to like whatever say bad, talk trash about people getting on in years, but this guy who is like the detective guy who's got the daughter or whatever, he's like 60 in his 60s or 70s, looks like he's even old, looks like he's probably older than, or looks older than he is possibly, but I don't know why the producers of this movie thought that people who are going to be interested in like gory, shot on video garbage movies like this is, why they're going to want to see, have the main kind of detective guy be this old, and once again, not, I don't mean to be talking trash about old people, but why the hell anyone watching this gory, movie are going to want to see this old guy, walking around being Mr. Detective? That's something that when I watched it, I'm like, that's not even really that interesting. And then this daughter he's got, she works, I think, at the, I don't know, college library or some crap. I think she's supposed to be like the, oh God, I hope that, I've actually had some people that have actually made movies and started movies that I review. I've had people actually watch my review, so I'm cognizant that I don't want to say too much about what I think about. We'll just say this woman, yeah, isn't that funny? I don't want to trash on this woman too much in case she watches it, but this woman I think is supposed to be more or less like I don't know if she's supposed to be the sexy woman in this movie, and I'll just simply say that I don't find her sexy. And so it's kind of like almost like the people that made this, like, do they even know? I mean, they know that, these gore hounds want to see gore. They do the gore pretty good, I guess. But these other details, like the old detective and this quote-unquote hot woman who's, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So I guess just because I don't think this woman is particularly attractive doesn't mean someone else might not think this woman is particularly attractive. But anyway, I think... not a big fan of this movie, and I'm sure as shit glad I rewatched The Ripper and Blood Cult before I just bought, spent $40 on buying both of them on Blu-ray, because, Oh my God, yeah, I never, you know, I'd kind of be interested in the extras and the commentaries and stuff, but as far as the movies themselves, I mean, I don't really need to see either of them necessarily ever again. And one thing I will say about this movie, very similar to like The Ripper would go on to do a year later, and is, I don't know, maybe The Ripper, I mean, they're not complete, The Ripper might have been, I think the same husband and wife, director, producer team did this and The Ripper, so you know these two, you know, this movie and The Ripper, for being like shot on video, are not, you know, there could be worse shot on, and there is worse shot on video. For being shot on video, like there's a certain kind of, I guess, a little bit of a know-how in, you know, and even though it is shot on video, it's not as bad as some shot on video stuff, is what I'm trying to say. Like the framing and the editing and, you know, some of the, you know, dark, you know, cinematography and dark scenes and stuff with colored gels and all this kind of stuff is competent. And so it's some of the better, I guess, shot on video stuff that you're going to come across, is what I'm trying to say. And one thing about this that I do like more than The Ripper is, like, it seems like the kind of the murders are interspersed in a way that, you know, they kind of happen enough to keep you interested or whatever. And one of the things that you know, gets repetitive about The Ripper, they just keeps, you know, they just keep using the same appliance on the different chicks, as it's just, you know, slit the throat, slit the throat, slit the throat, over and over. And this is just like, got a meat cleaver and we'll chop different parts off, you know, we'll kill the person with the cleaver and then chop off the legs, chop off whatever. And so it's a little more, it's not as repetitive as The Ripper would go on to be, with just like, you know, just nothing but this repetitive throat slitting. But, so, and, you know, it's always funny as well when you do a movie like this. The movie opens with like a college co-ed chick taking a shower, and it's funny that, you know, you're going to have this presumably hot chick, you know, taking a shower, but we're not going to show any nudity because we don't have that much money. Or, you know, who knows, maybe I can't imagine they're religious if they're doing this gory movie, but for whatever reason, you got this, you know, you're doing this exploitation gore kind of shot on video movie, and this hot chick's taking a shower, but we're not going to show any skin. It's just like, it's so weird to me. And there's this other movie that I got like in the spring, that I've been meaning to, I gotta torture myself and rewatch it. That and I don't want to spoil it and say the title. Will just let you wonder and wait. But it's one of these other movies that's put out on Blu-ray by Saturn's Core, and it's like another shot-on-video movie, which unlike, you know, Blood Cult and The Ripper, which I think are much more competently technically done, you know, framing and cinematography or videography, I guess I should say, and editing and stuff, like this one, which, you know, I'm not going to reveal the title of until I hopefully review it at some point, is just garbage, you know, just complete garbage and just tilted shots. Just, they don't know what the hell they're doing. But that movie, and I don't try not to talk too much about that movie, it's got maybe not so many, but a decent amount of like hot chicks, and I couldn't even believe how, like, they have sex scenes that would otherwise normally have like TNA, you know, chick ass, tits, you know, exposed toplessness and stuff. And it's like, I can't believe how I gotta make myself rewatch that so I can review it. Hopefully I'll do it sooner than later. But I've never seen a movie that goes that close to having so many, like 2, 3, maybe 4 various hot chicks that are engaged in like sexual activity or risque activity without managing to show anything. Like, they're like a Christian movie producer who wants to capitalize on like gore and horror and, like, you know, promiscuous sex stuff, but is absolutely against showing any, you know, nudity or toplessness. And it's just unbelievable. I guess I probably really should rewatch and review that now that you're probably wondering what the hell I'm talking about. But that one I actually did blind buy, because I never had seen that before, and I blind bought the Blu-ray on eBay I think in the spring, and yeah, I watched it once and I'm like, oh my god. And it's just like, it has been so long since I've seen it, I have to make myself rewatch it to review it. Oh my God, I've been talking about that for 5 minutes. But anyway, there's not much more to say about Blood Cult. It's just, you know, hatchet murder. And then the old geezer fucking detective goes and investigates. Then he goes and sees his daughter at the library, and then another murder. Then the geezer sees his daughter at the diner. Then another murder. Then the geezer sees his daughter at the library again. And it's really one thing that I've been rewatching this, seeing it for the second time in like 25 years, 20, maybe 22 or 21 years. It's like, why do the producers of these movies think we want to just see like these dialogue scenes where they're just at the library sitting at a table, they're at a diner sitting at the table, like, I don't know, there's just so many just dialogue scenes and this and that. And then there's a funny scene, I don't know if they didn't have, it's very possible they ran out of time to competently film the scene, but there's a scene in the halfway through the movie or something that takes place out at a farm where I think someone's dog was supposed to have been killed, but there's like, all it is just a footage of like the yard with the house on one side and the barn on the other, and just like, you know, woof, 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 and then, and then just dialogue of like, you know, oh, you know, Charlie, something went wrong with the dog, go check on the dog, and it's just like, they didn't have time to film the scene, so they're just like, well, here, we'll just film the yard for like 10 minutes, and then we'll just record dialogue to put over the shot of the yard. And it's just, you know, that was probably the lamest aspect of this whole movie. But it's one of those things that obviously it was lame in a, you know, I suppose maybe in a good way. Obviously it stuck, one of the few things of this whole movie that stuck in my head, so I guess it was a good lame thing. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend buying this probably on Blu-ray, but of course I've got the tape, so I didn't need to buy the Blu-ray. But if there's no other way for you to see it, you might have to buy the Blu-ray. But to see it, but I wouldn't really recommend it. One thing I will say in closing is that I guess the twist ending is you know, kind of okay. You wouldn't necessarily expect it, kind of a thing. It may be tragic as well, but I'll tell you, you know, by the time you're halfway through this movie, or maybe even sooner than that, you're really sick of seeing, and nothing against old people, I'm slowly working my way towards getting older and older myself, but you really get sick of seeing that old kind of codger frickin', you know, detective guy, and you're wondering why the hell they want this old guy to be the, I don't know if this guy's a former star or something. Like, if there's an old person in a movie, like a horror movie in the 80s, it's usually because they were like previously more famous, and I don't know if this guy is a previous star or what, but yeah. And what's so funny is the quote-unquote hot chick, which in my opinion isn't that hot, got like this boyfriend who looks like it could have been like a Texas Chainsaw, you know, crazy killer character. Like, I don't know who that guy is, but it seems to me like I've seen him in something else, but he's got that chainsaw, Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of crazy family appearance, and you're like, maybe he's the killer, and he may or may not be. I won't spoil that, but that guy, just the performer, is just I kind of like that guy, and you kind of think, is he the perpetrator of everything? But anyway, my star rate, I guess that's my review for Blood Cult. My star rating for Blood Cult is, I can't go very high at all. I guess because it's relatively competently done for what it is, I can go as high as a half of 1 star. Half of 1 star out of 4 stars for Blood Cult. I can't really recommend it. But as I already said, there are definitely worse shot-on-video movies, like the one that I was talking about, which I don't want to spoil and name. And now I probably really should rewatch it so I can review that, so you don't have to wait for weeks and months to see my review of that. But yeah, Blood Cult. I saved 40 some. You got to also include tax, so I saved like $45 by actually rewatching these movies, you know, The Ripper and Blood Cult, and not just like buying the Blu-rays, you know. So thank goodness gracious that I watched The Ripper on Tubi and rewatched my VHS of Blood Cult. I saved like $45 or so. So, oh man, I've seen it once 20 odd years ago, and seen it now and probably never have to see it again. So I guess that pretty much does it for my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, we'll catch you on the next video. I'm celebrating the 40th anniversary, just by chance, of Blood Cult in 2025. And if this movie is what it purports to say, or what it says is to I think we're just gonna start over.